You afraid to die?
I ain't afraid.
Good, because you go first. Get on! Go! Get! All of them, get out of here!
In the rugged American West of the 1880s, the city marshal and his deputy arrived on horseback. They soon confronted a man called Randall, demanding that he hand over two of his men who were wanted for murder.
I gotta take two of your boys back into town with me.
You're outside your jurisdiction, Marshal.
However, he refused to comply. When the marshal ordered his deputy to arrest the man, Randall draws his gun and kills the marshal and his deputy on the spot. Far across the town, two longtime partners, Virgil Cole and Everett Hitch, were making their way across the western frontier. Virgil, a fearless gunfighter, and Everett, a former West Point graduate, had once served in the military. Their next job brought them to the small town of Appaloosa. When they arrived, they met with the town leaders, who explained that their town had fallen under the control of a powerful rancher named Randall Bragg.
This fella Bragg, what's his story?
The leaders told them that the town sheriff and two deputies had once tried to arrest two of Randall's men for murder, but Randall himself intervened and killed them. The town leaders pleaded with them to take the job and bring back law and order. Virgil agreed, but only on one condition. Town leaders had to accept the laws that he made and follow his authority without question.
Sign the damn thing, Abner, so these men can do what they came here to do.
The leaders hesitated, and while they were still debating, a woman came in and reported that a saloon was under attack by Randall's men. With the situation growing worse, the town leaders had no other choice and finally agreed to Virgil's terms, signing his written agreement. They immediately went to the saloon and confronted the men, warning that they stop what they were doing.
Step a little closer, Virgil Cole, and I'll piss in your pocket.
The men refused to listen, and both Virgil and Everett drew their weapons and fired, killing them instantly. The next day, Randall Bragg rode into town with his entire gang. Soon after, they introduced themselves, and Virgil told him directly that he was now the city marshal and that he believed Randall had a part in the murder of the previous marshal and his deputy.
Is what happened to Jack Bell? Can't help you there, Marshal.
And before leaving, Virgil made it clear that no man was allowed to carry a weapon within the town limits. Soon after, a woman named Allie French arrived in Appaloosa. Everett saw her when she was stepping off the train. Curious, he followed her at a distance until she entered a cafe where Virgil happened to be eating. Allison politely asked if they could recommend a clean but affordable hotel in town.
Do you think the hotel will let me stay for $1?
You can stay as long as you like, Mrs. French.
Virgil told her that she could stay at the same hotel and then asked Everett to help her get settled. When Everett returned later, he told Virgil and Allison he had been asking about him and said that she had asked if Virgil was married. He had replied that he didn't know.
Hell, Everett, you see a wife around here?
I do not.
Then why the hell did you tell her you didn't know?
Everett also mentioned that she preferred to be called Allie. Sometime later, during breakfast at the hotel, Allie joined Virgil and Everett at the table and told Everett that she and Virgil were planning to buy a house in town so they could live together. Everett was caught off guard by the news but congratulated them politely. Their breakfast was interrupted when a young ranch hand named Joe Whitfield arrived, saying he had witnessed Randall Bragg kill the sheriff and the deputies.
You testified to what you saw? Yes.
They questioned him carefully, making sure he was willing to testify against Bragg in court. Once they were certain, they prepared to arrest Bragg. They rode to Bragg's ranch and held him at gunpoint to place him under arrest. When the rest of Bragg's men arrived, they found Virgil and Everett already holding their leader at gunpoint. Bragg ordered his men to lower their weapons, and they took him away. Everett noticed Bragg's men riding toward the marshal's office. Realizing something was about to happen, he hurried there and joined Virgil. One of the men announced they had come to take Bragg. Virgil ordered Everett to go inside and hold Bragg at gunpoint. Virgil stood his ground and told them that if they chose to fight, many of them would die before the day was over.
You think we do this kind of work because we're scared to die?
You got him turned.
The men obeyed his command and rode away. Not long after, two lawmen arrived in Appaloosa with a judge. They offered to help guard Bragg until the trial, and Virgil accepted their assistance. With Joe Whitfield prepared to testify as a witness, everything seemed ready. Soon after, a pair of well-known hired gunmen, the Shelton brothers, rode into town.
Don't appear to be healed.
They were dangerous men who took any job, whether lawful or criminal. Virgil recognized them immediately and stayed composed. When the day of Bragg's trial arrived, Joe Whitfield gave a detailed account of what he had seen, describing how Bragg had killed the sheriff and the deputies. Bragg grew angry and tried to defend himself, while his men testified in his favor, claiming they knew nothing about what Joe was saying.
Does anybody have anything different to say other than...
The judge then quietly advised Joe to get on his horse and ride out of town while he still could. Understanding the danger, Joe didn't hesitate and left immediately. When Bragg took the stand, he accused Virgil of setting him up and claimed Joe was lying to make him look guilty. Despite his confident manner and smooth words, the judge was not convinced. In the end, Bragg was found guilty and sentenced to hang in another city.
I find you guilty of these charges and sentence you to hang at Yawkey Prison.
During Bragg's transfer by train, the train stopped to refill its water supply, and the Shelton brothers suddenly appeared beneath the tracks, holding Allie hostage. They demanded Bragg's release, threatening to kill her if Virgil refused. Virgil hesitated, torn between his duty as a lawman and his feelings for Allie. Suddenly, gave in and ordered Bragg's release to save her life.
Rifle down.
Sorry, Cole, this ain't your jurisdiction.
Put it down!
The brothers promised that they would let Allie go once the train started moving again. But as soon as they had Bragg, they rode off with both him and Allie. Furious, Virgil set off after them on foot, while Everett stayed behind to return to town by train and bring back horses.
I'll ride the train back to town and fetch him. You stray off the wash, leave me a sign.
After a long, exhausting day, the two lawmen reunited and began tracking them. The next morning, they spotted the group camped near a river. At the same time, native warriors began approaching the area. Clearly preparing for an ambush, they rushed closer to try to rescue Allie, but to their shock, they found her bathing naked in the river, laughing and playing with one of the Shelton brothers. Sight cut deep into Virgil's pride. Moments later, the attack began. When one of them tried to drag Allie away, Virgil and Everett opened fire, killing one of the attackers' horses and forcing the rest to retreat. Later arrived in a small, quiet town where Virgil and Everett gave Bragg to the town's marshal to keep him under arrest while the Shelton brothers prepare for their showdown. Before the fight begins, Virgil opens up to Everett, speaking softly but firmly about his feelings for Allie.
Never met a woman like her.
Everett listens carefully and reflects on Allie's nature, and she tells Virgil that she isn't truly immoral or heartless, only drawn to strength and authority. Virgil admits that none of it changes how he feels about her. When the time comes, Virgil and Everett makes their way to the Shelton brothers. When they arrive, they discover the town's marshal is actually related to the Shelton brothers.
Ray, you take Mackie, then we'll deal upstairs.
Yes, sir.
It's a trap. Bragg, the brothers, and the marshal surround them. Gunfire breaks the silence. Virgil manages to kill one of the brothers and the corrupt marshal, while Everett takes down the others. Bragg flees on horseback, and both Virgil and Everett are wounded but alive. Allie runs to Virgil's side.
Virgil!
Time passes, and his leg never fully heals, leaving him with a permanent limp. Long after their encounter at the stockyards, Virgil and Everett received shocking news that Randall Bragg had been granted a presidential pardon. Soon after, Bragg returned to Appaloosa dressed in fine clothes. That evening, he entered the saloon where Virgil, Everett, and Allie were having dinner. He approached their table and tried to make peace, but Virgil refused. He told Bragg that he was still a murderer and would never get away with it.
I don't know what kind of deal you worked, but as far as I'm concerned, you murdered Jack Bell.
In the days that followed, Bragg opened a luxurious hotel. That evening, Everett and Virgil talked quietly about what was happening. Everett admitted that there was no longer a place for him in Appaloosa, while Virgil confessed that he wanted to stay because of Allie. Everett voiced his concern that Allie might leave once things changed. Virgil said he already knew, but still wanted to stay with her.
Me and Allie got a house here. I'm not leaving.
Before riding out, Everett stopped by the hotel. He placed his badge and gun on the bar counter and told the bartender that they were for Bragg, that he punched Bragg across the face, challenging him to a gunfight outside. Bragg grabbed the gun and stormed outside to meet his challenge.
You think you can pull on me without your friend Cole to back you up?
Virgil arrived at the scene and saw Everett standing in the street. He stepped forward, trying to stop it, but Everett asked him to step aside. Understanding his friend's resolve, Virgil stepped back without another word. The standoff ended almost as soon as it began. Bragg reached for his gun, but Everett was faster. One shot rang out, and Bragg fell dead in the dust. Everett quietly reloaded his pistol and without a glance behind him, mounted his horse and rode out of Appaloosa. Our journey through this classic has come to an end, but the nostalgia never stops. Hit subscribe for more retro movie adventures and drop a comment letting me know which movie we should revisit next.